And we are live. All right.
Okay.
The first question is, from your personal experience, what have been, okay, this has to do with that, the Google, what is it? What Google learned from its quest to build the perfect team. From your personal experience, what have been key behaviors in effective teams, in your opinion?
Well, that's a great question because, as I mentioned before, I just recently, like last week, got promoted to supervisor over the maintenance department for this school in the valley I live in. It has about 12 to 1,600 students. And it doesn't have a very large maintenance team. But one of the big things is communication, obviously. Communication is key, and I think even as we're learning from the speed of trust and from the 5 dysfunctions of a team, communication can often break down when there's a lack of trust. So I guess having some trust, being able to trust each other, trust that we can bring up concerns with each other or questions without feeling like attacked or feeling like we're not being heard. Being able to have a safe place to have a conversation, that again, that where it's absent of the drama. I think in our culture specifically, the LDS culture, we understand the term return and report. I think it's something that goes through every organization is helps any organization become effective is in that communication, being able to give some direction, have the person follow that direction, and then come back and report the status or the progress of the instruction given. And then I think finding ways to boost morale. Like tomorrow is one of our maintenance guys' birthdays, so I feel it's important as a new supervisor to acknowledge when people's birthdays are, make them feel a little special, and appreciated. Expressing appreciation often, and giving good solid feedback, good solid, sincere feedback, not always criticism, but constructively trying to help a person improve what they could be improving. I think those are all effective tools in my experience for effective team.
Yes. Where I work right now, I work with I'm an aircraft mechanic over here in San Diego, and I work with communication skills are very important, and not getting on each other's nerves is also important, or talking straight, because I found that the only way to actually be effective and get what I need is to have a good rapport with others, especially our mechanical engineers. If I had no communication skills there, I wouldn't. I would be up creek without a paddle.
Yeah.
It all revolves around that communication, those communication skills.
Yeah.
All right.
I agree with you.
Question two. What do group norms have to do with effective team building? What would you say your current B321 group norms include, unspoken and spoken norms, and are they healthy group norms?
Well,
So,
this is kind of interesting to tie it into to our class B321 because this only being the second time we've met in this forum. Uh, we really haven't had time to establish any group norms, but it does say behavioral standards and traditions and unwritten rules. Right now we're not doing so hot if we've only got 2 out of the 5 in our group that are meeting tonight. that
correct.
is establishing a very bad behavioral standard, I guess, for our group.
Yes, it
hopefully
is.
hopefully no one who may watch this later takes that offensively, but it's a difficult thing to kind of tie into 321 because we haven't had, it's hard to establish a tradition in so short of time.
Yeah.
But I think the concept of group norms is that, there is a culture, we could tie it actually a lot better into our religion. It is a group norm that we obey the Sabbath. We keep it holy. It's a group norm that we have these
Commandments.
commandments, and then I don't know how would you say there's unspoken rules in our religion? I mean, because it seems like everything's pretty much well laid out,
In black and
Uh,
white.
but I mean, we expect if we're in company with LDS people, they're not going to be drinking coffee. They're not going to be smoking cigarettes. They're not going to be drinking alcohol. They're not going to be cussing like a sailor. I think those are group norms. And how does it tie to the question? Um, how does that? What does it have to do with effective team building? And I think that there again, I'll use the word trust. If if I'm going into a business with an LDS person, and I'm not saying this is every case, um, but I might expect because this person has some of the same values as I do that I can trust him more with certain aspects of the business or certain behaviors within the workplace, um, or with the team. If I know that in our culture we talk about having compassion for one another, like do what is right, treat others as you would have them treat you, um, the golden rule type stuff that is embedded within our culture and our religion, then that's going to help me feel comfortable being around that kind of person, like trusting him that or her that they're not gonna fly off the handle if something bad happens. They might be able to exercise more patience, more understanding. So I think that's in to me that's how it can affect team building.
At work, do you work around people that are clean or filthy mouths?
It's of course it's in a school setting, so really it is clean. I don't hear a lot of cussing. I probably hear more cussing from students than I do from my
Exactly.
teammates, which is, it's nice, we're expected to be clean, we're not, put on a clean shirt, a press shirt, wear deodorant, comb our hair, shave, that kind of stuff, because presence is very important to the perceived safety of the campus. So, a lot of the stuff we do for the benefit of the students.
Yeah. Okay.
And those are spoken norms. Unspoken norms, I think, would be like trust. Unspoken norms, like not taking offense to something, or what's another one, like being able to have the forethought and foresight to be able to take on something, a project on our own, and to be detail oriented enough to get the job done with a critical eye. Those are, to me, those are unwritten rules. Like, we don't talk about those things on a day-to-day basis, but if I get onto campus and there's a broken water line and it hasn't been fixed, and it's an hour and a half into the day, and there's students already running around in the puddles, then I could say that was a breach of an unwritten rule, an unspoken rule, that the number one thing is safety. And why didn't someone take that initiative to go and make sure everything was taken care of? So,
Okay.
I don't know. I hope I'm making sense. I
the reason I ask you about if you work around um, filthy mouths or clean mouths is because I work around sailors all day long, and if I had to guess, you have an idea how a sailor's mouth is.
Oh, sure. Yes.
I just, one thing that and I don't want to be stereotypical, but I can trust. It's easier for me to trust people that do not have a filthy mouth than it is for me to trust someone that has a filthy mouth.
Yeah.
If you don't have a filthy mouth, it seems like you're actually more professional, and it's easier for me to trust someone that practices professionalism.
Well, I've been told, an observation from other people not even involved in, or coming from the same background as our religion, that that kind of speaking that way is a sign of a lack of intelligence, a lack of being able to think through things and process things in a way that they don't have to react in that way. It's very unintelligent to just, when presented with the first bad scenario, some cuss word slips out of the mouth. Now, I'm not trying to be stereotypical of people who do swear. There's plenty of people who are intelligent who swear. And I mean, like, even taking, for instance, Tony Robbins, he acknowledges that his cussing isn't the best behavior in his workshops, but he uses it in a psychological way to, I can't remember how he explained it. It was quite interesting, but anyway, so I'm not saying that every person who swears is unintelligent. I'm just saying that it does seem to have that kind of perception, like, you know, an F word every few words in a sentence doesn't seem like very intelligent. Like, what are you actually saying? You know?
Correct. All right. Question 3. How does psychological safety in a team increase overall effectiveness? And what are the roles of communication and empathy in creating psychological safety?
Well, you know, as it's stated in the article, psychological safety is a group culture. It's a shared belief held by members of a team that the team is safe from interpersonal risk taking. Um, so, you know, going back to the idea of communication and kind of what we've read. I don't know if you've read the 5 dysfunctions of a team, but it does talk quite a bit about this idea. You know, people tend to hold back from saying what they want to say when they feel like what they're going to say won't be heard or they might be reprimanded. In other words, they don't trust that the people they would, you know, they're holding back from the people, from certain people of what they want to say because they don't trust that person. Um, and that's what's known as psychological safety is being able to um, feel and believe that we're safe so we can communicate more effectively with each other. Um, you know, in the 5 dysfunctions of a team, you know, it's kind of a fictional, uh, you know, it's a fable. It calls it a fable, but it teaches a lesson, right? So, um, you know, you might find this at your workplace. You know, people might say one thing to you, and they might say another completely different thing to their friend at work, or they might say something completely different to their boss. You know, the stories don't line up.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's a sign that they don't feel psychologically safe in the work environment. And, you know, in a way, it seems like corporate America, you know, many of the traditions have kind of been guilty of not fostering this idea of psychological safety in the workplace. Like, you should know better than that. Okay, so, or, you know, that's such a dumb question. You know, why did you ask me a stupid question? It's a stupid question because you should have known that that was the protocol. Yeah, I don't like the term coming out of people's mouths. You should have known, or you know, because obviously if I made the mistake, then maybe I forgot or I didn't know. So I would rather be, you know, like, but if I know that if I tell the truth in something, I'm going to get reprimanded for it. Why would what incentivizes me to tell the truth?
Yeah.
You know, like, so we have to feel safe in our work environment. Not, you know, as a team lead or as a supervisor, I have to kind of instill within my subordinates or my direct reports uh, a feeling that they can communicate anything to me if they have an issue at all. It's completely safe. We'll work through it. We'll talk through it, and you know, I want them to come to me with issues, with problems, with if they come up with a good idea on how to run the campus better, if they go around campus and they see something that isn't right, you know, are they going to feel safe to come approach me and say, hey, look, this is what I saw, and, you know, do you have any ideas on how we can fix it? I this is actually really close to where I work. Like what I'm talking about, it's just happened in the last, couple of weeks to two different employees. And I've sat in a conversation with the CEO of the school and those employees. And there's been a lack of communication and therefore a lack of trust between those employees and the CEO. And the CEO is not by any means, they're not a tyrant. It's just that, somewhere along the way, they felt that maybe what they said was just going to fall on dead ears. So they didn't speak up. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, it does. Question 4. How does sharing personal experiences and being vulnerable influence team dynamics? Do you have any personal examples of this in organizations you are involved in?
Well, in some respects, that person who comes to tell me, hey, I saw this over here, wasn't sure if it was right or wasn't sure if, it looked like maybe there was a mistake made here. In a way, that's being vulnerable, because maybe it was right, maybe it's already been thought out, right? So being willing to, even though it may have been addressed before already or whatever, being able to come and saying, look, this doesn't seem right to me, or this doesn't look right. What can I do to help? How can I do to help? Or even making recommendations. I think those put us in areas of vulnerability and trust. I think, to be vulnerable is to actually put trust in other people, that they're not going to walk all over that vulnerability. They're going to see it as, he's trying to be a team player. He's, he's bringing attention to these issues. At least that shows me he cares. He wants to do the right thing. And now I'm going to trust that because he was vulnerable with me on those issues, I can trust that he does have a critical eye, and he's going to pay attention to the small details, and it's going to make the campus look better and be more safe.
Yeah. I dislike it when you go and you try to share something personal, and you put yourself out there as being a little bit vulnerable, and it ends up backfiring on you.
Yeah.
And instead of creating trust, you end up getting what is it? People end up, your coworkers end up getting, you end up, instead of something positive happening, you end up getting embarrassed. And I hate that.
Yeah. And then you get embarrassed, and then that makes it so you don't want to trust that, you don't want to approach the same people the same way, because all of a sudden you feel embarrassed, and then you therefore you don't trust that person anymore with your feelings or with, something personal. And that's the first step towards a breakdown of communication in an organization, because it started with that trust. Sorry.
All right. Question number 5. What can you do as an individual to initiate effective team behavior?
Oh, I just thought about something on question 4 really quick, and I think it's very important. And that is vulnerability also means to be able to recognize when you've made a mistake, and own it, not try to deflect that mistake to another person or to a circumstance that's outside of your own influence.
And
You know, like I'm disappointed with your behavior. Oh, sorry, it's because I've been hanging around, you know, so and so. They're dragging me down. Well, that might be the case, but own up to the fact that you made the choice to hang out with this person who brought your behavior down. You know,
yeah,
and that idea itself is very much lacking, I think, in general in the majority of workforces today. Is that people a lot of times don't take ownership of when they've made a mistake. They don't own it. They don't, like, it's like they have agency without consequence, right? Oh well, you know, I did this because of that, and you know, or I did this because I didn't know better, or I didn't, you know, not, oh, I, you know, my apologies, I didn't know that was the policy, but I'll move forward, you know, or I'll fix that moving forward. You know, I'll take full responsibility of that mistake I made, and you know,
that's actually the best way, I think, to gain someone's trust, and that is to actually uh, be responsible and own up to your mistake.
yeah,
Because if someone makes a mistake and they own up to it, then more than likely they will never make that same mistake again.
yeah.
Okay.
So then back to the fifth question. You know, I think this question very much applies to me, obviously, because you know I've been promoted as a supervisor, and so now I do have a team, even though it's a small team. I have a team to make sure gets things done in a timely manner and in a quality manner. And you know, I think um, being willing to get out there and serve them as well, or in other words, like lead by example. I know we hear it almost sounds cliche, but lead by example. Like if I'm asking my team to do stuff and I know they've got a big pile of assignments to do, and I'm just sitting in an office doing nothing, that might not reflect very well to the whole team. There might be some resentment start to build up from that kind of activity. Um, you know, that might cause um,
Contention.
contention. Oh, why aren't you doing anything to help out? You know, um, and even though, and it's kind of interesting, I'm learning so much from this new experience, but because this is my first time actually working in a school setting, um, there, it's interesting. You know, we have a kind of pretty forward-thinking CEO, and which has helped this school grow tremendously. But on the back end, like other administrative staff, it seems very much that like micromanaged setting you know, in the workplace. And maybe it's because they don't trust that people will make good decisions. Maybe they don't want to take the risk because there's students involved, you know, children. um, but it's very much a micromanaged setting where I work, even though that doesn't come straight from the CEO. You know, I have someone I have to directly report to. And then
Yeah.
if I'm caught uh, doing a chore that could be done by one of my direct reports, I get sometimes I get reprimanded for doing that thing. Like, why didn't you have so and so do it? Well, I realized so and so was busy with some of their chores or their tasks, so I decided to jump in so we could speed up the process. And sometimes that's not looked at, you know, that's kind of frowned upon where I work, and it makes me feel like I can't do the job the way I want to do the job sometimes. And that's
Yeah.
something I have to effectively communicate to my supervisors, because if I don't, maybe that could cause a problem down the road.
True.
But
Right.
sorry, I mean, what about you? I just feel like I'm taking like the majority of the conversation here, but I mean, do you work with a team?
Uh, yes and no. Um, I some days I work by myself, and other days I work as a team. It all depends upon the situation at hand. Um,
Where do you work again?
I work on Coronado Island down here in San Diego.
Okay. Coronado Island. So what is
Yes.
that?
Um, it's um, it's just an island out in uh, the San Diego Bay.
Oh, yeah. Is that where the one state park is or whatever?
Uh,
Down in the south part of San Diego, kind of across the bay. It's like you can see downtown San Diego from the island. There's like a light. There's some lighthouses there. There's some tidal pools. It's like
um,
it's
La
like not a
Jolla.
state park. It's like a national monument.
Um, Cabrillo National Monument,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
the
Cabrillo.
Point
Yeah.
Loma Lighthouse. Yeah, it's Coronado Island is south. Is south from Point Loma across the bay.
So it's not on the same island as or the same area as Cabrillo National Monument.
Correct. Cabrillo National Monument is actually on the, I guess you want to say the mainland, and then you have
Okay.
you have the San Diego Bay, and then you have Coronado Island
Is
on
it
the
like a
opposite.
military base or?
Um, I work on half of it. Half of Coronado Island is a Navy base.
Okay. So you work with the Navy?
Yes, and depending upon the day, I either love it or I hate it.
Okay.
Uh, I, I, I'm not a big fan of, as we talked earlier tonight, I'm not a big fan of fields, and that's normally what I hear on a daily basis.
Yeah. So when you say swears like a sailor, you're literally meaning that they swear like a sailor because they're
Yes.
sailors.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So did it lose connection? Like, can you see me still talking, or is it just showing my picture?
No, it's showing your picture. Matter of fact,
That's weird.
where is that picture?
That's on top of the tallest structure in the southern hemisphere in New Zealand.
Oh, nice.
So it's a space. It's kind of like the Space Needle in Seattle. I'm on top of the deck, which has kind of the way it's shaped. You can actually look straight down onto the traffic, and that's what I'm taking a picture of.
Ah, okay. The
Which,
tallest.
yeah, it's I'm I'm a fan of the like the accomplishments of human engineering, and
Yes.
being able to what we've been able to create as mankind. And so I like to go up to tall buildings because I just think it's engineering wonder. So.
Well, I served my mission in Chicago, and I went up to the top of the Willis, what's now the Willis Tower.
Yeah.
And what used to be the Sears Tower. And that was kind of for someone who's not a big fan of heights. I prefer not to do it again.
Yeah, I didn't. I've been to Chicago once, and I did not, unfortunately, make it up to the Willis Tower. I did, however, make it up to the Hancock Building, which there's on the 98th floor or something clear up there. There's like a restaurant, and that was a nice view of the city. And I've been up to the top of the Empire State Building. I've been to the top of that Space Needle in Las Vegas with all the rides. Like, I've been on all the rides on the top there. I'd love to get to the top of I'd love to go to Dubai one of these days. Check that one out. But what's that?
Oh, I said sounds good. Those if I can just stand in the middle of the buildings, I'm fine. But as soon as I go towards the end, the edges, I'm not. That's not my cup of tea anymore.
Oh yeah. Well, in this particular photo, where I was there on the tower, you could feel the wind blowing pretty well around that tower. It's talking about vulnerability. That's pretty, it's pretty kind of freaky when you're up there in the very top and you can feel it swaying almost like you're at sea.
Yeah.
Oh, who joined us?
Brandon.
Hey, it's Brandon.
How you doing?
So Brandon joined us.
Good. How are y'all doing tonight?
Good.
We are doing well.
Good.
How was your day?
I just responded to you, Charles. Do you go by Charles?
Charles is fine, yes.
What do you prefer?
I go by either Charles or CJ, or let's go with Charles.
Okay. I just replied to your email. Sorry, I didn't see it till just a couple of minutes ago. Were you able to find what you needed?
No, I was not.
So what the instructions said last week is that based on the list that we sent with who was going to be assigned for which lesson, the instructor was going to either send you some kind of passcode or a link or activate something for you. And I know he received it because he thanked me for sending it to him. But that's about all I have. I mean, I looked on there too, and it just talks about it. The only other thing that was interesting is that we're on lesson 4, and it's referring to lesson 5.
Yes.
But I don't know if that's just a typo.
So on that discussion thing, wasn't that mainly for the posts, like the discussion board posts?
Now, there's something that the group leader is supposed to get that's a group discussion agenda.
Oh, because I thought the agenda was talking about the Google reading.
Well, and I think it is. I think it just has some other questions. In fact, honestly, last week I remembered seeing a more detailed list of questions to use. And just in the excitement of trying to get everything together, I forgot all about that and looked at just what was online on the, initially, because it said, here's questions. And I thought, oh, this is it. But after
Did you
the
find
fact.
that email?
What email?
Did you say he emailed you something?
No, he just responded, "Thank you," when I sent the list
No.
of who in our group was going to be assigned to which week. So I'm just saying he
Okay.
has the information.
I never got anything back from him.
Okay. Well, I would say let's just go with what we do have, and that'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I ended up doing last week, although I knew better. I just, in the heat of the moment, I forgot.
We've been talking for about 20 minutes or so. Or has it been longer? Man, it's been 50 minutes.
It's been about a little bit over 45 minutes.
And we've gone through all the discussions, but if you want to give your feedback on any of the prompts.
Did we change the time?
No, it was 7:30 Mountain Standard Time.
So we changed it from last week then, because I thought it was 8:30. We did 8:30 last week, and I thought that was our every week time. I'm totally fine with the earlier. I'd rather do it earlier. I just thought we were 8:30 Mountain.
Oh.
I'm wondering if you're going to have some others join in here momentarily.
Yeah.
Maybe. But then our recording is going to exceed an hour.
Yeah. That's true. So I most of what I had kind of thought about, I've already posted. I'm not even sure if I posted them in the right places now that I've seen all the different questions out there. But I thought the linkage between the Google experiment and the speed of trust, I mean, there's just so many connections. I'm sure that's part of what you guys were talking about.
Yeah. And I've also kind of tied it in with the other book, which I for some reason I thought it was also required, but I guess it was the other way around. But the
which one?
The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team.
That is required, but it's after we finish the Speed of Trust. So we read this one for like the first half, and then we go to the other one.
Yeah, and see, I read the Speed of Trust like 10 years ago. I've got I bought a new copy of it, and I've been reading that through too. But yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, it does go all go back to trust for sure.
Yeah, and then being able to develop that within a group. I mean, you do have to kind of understand people's personalities and motives and things like that. You can't do that in just a structured meeting. Here's the agenda. Let's get the agenda done. Make decisions. Go. So I thought that was really good with the whole Google thing.
So let's see. Sorry, what's your name again?
Brandon
Nickel. Okay, so who's Mitchell?
He's the one that wasn't able to make it last time.
So I just got an email. What time is it? 6:00. He sent today at 6:30, but are we still meeting tonight? It says in the email, the group email that we had going.
Oh. Yeah. Well, then he should have gotten the. Charles, did you have his?
I sent invites to everyone.
Okay.
So I sent them to Sarah and Sarah and Mitchell. And who is the other one we have?
I think that's Sarah, it. The three of us. Yeah.
Sarah, Sarah and Mitchell. Yeah,
Mitch,
I
yeah.
I invited both of them also.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm going to guess we'll get at least one of them here in a few minutes.
So, what did you think of the? What did you think of the reading? The
I mean, the Google.
yes,
I really enjoyed it. I mean, there were a lot of things that just clicked as I read that, and I liked how it started out. It was like, here's this. How do we figure out what? And I'm thinking, yeah, what is it? And then when they come around to the solution, I go, well, yeah, of course. It's kind of one of those things. But I mean, fortunately, my job right now, I work with some people that are, I mean, they're just great. I mean, I think that there's a really great trust relationship, even though a lot of the things that we do, are can be really painful, more painful than I think they should be, than really most of them think they should be. But it's government related, and so there's just all the red tape to get through. But yet, because you're working with these people that are, that you can trust and that you feel comfortable voicing your opinion because the trust is mutual. And generally people don't have, agendas like, like, I'm the boss and, I know what's best and do what I say. I mean, there's just not, I really don't see a lot of that, at least in the organization I'm working with directly. And it sure makes things a lot better. And I can see why productivity would be, was a lot better with those groups that had that. I mean, there's room for improvement, but I'm in a pretty good place. And I've been in groups where it's not that way. So, how about you guys?
so
Like, I know you've already talked about it, but just kind of a nutshell. Have you guys had experiences where it was
Oh yeah, I mean,
good or awful?
As I stated earlier today, a couple weeks ago, I was promoted to a supervisor position over
Right.
the maintenance department, and I think all of the stuff that we're reading about communication and trust and culture and all of that is really relevant to what I'm doing. And I mean, for the most part, I'm experiencing a positive vibe from the team. Um, as you might imagine, uh, I I can, there's people in the staff who could not have good days and might have a chip on their shoulder or they on a day but I mean, for the most part, it's been pretty good. We as I've taken over the position, I've wanted to make sure that there's communication all the way through, and that it's a safe place to voice your concerns or opinions, and so
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the
I
one
think
thing about
it's
where the guy talked about his, having cancer, I went, yeah, well, how many people are going to be able to have that kind of thing? But I liked where it talked, hey, that's, I mean, yeah, that's kind of an extreme thing that really took everybody's pretenses and defenses and probably mellowed those out a bunch. But, I think there's other ways that you can do that as well.
I think we lost Charles.
Uh-oh. And he's running this thing, so that probably means the recording's done too. I don't know.
It might have.
Oh,
Does it have a minute or an hour maximum on those things?
I don't know if it's the Hangout thing that has the limit, or if it's just that that's what they've said. As part of the class, I can imagine that instructors probably don't really have enough time to listen to more than an hour for every one of their groups.
Well,
Last week we were only about 35 minutes, I think, on the recording.
yeah, so I just got a message somewhere. Let's see, what did it say?
It's something from Charles.
I thought so. I believe Charles was going to set up the link. That was Sarah Moody. So she just responded now. So
Well, I don't know
I'm
if you
guessing
remember
your presumption is right. They thought it was going to be the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't have joined in earlier. I just happened to be looking at my email, just going, hey, make sure everything, something didn't change. And
Okay.
Sorry, I'm back.
Yeah, I just got an email from Sarah Moody saying she thought you were going to set up a link.
And
so maybe you want to message them and say there's a link already.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't mind staying later and talking about this because it can't hurt anything. So,
hey, Charles, are you able to see how long it's been on your recording? Is there a counter? I can't remember.
There is no counter, but we're at about an hour.
Okay.
I'm not too concerned about it.
I mean, do you want to just start a new?
Here would be my recommendation is what if when Sarah comes on and if Mitchell does, just do some highlights, and because I'm sure the instructor doesn't want to have much more than an hour recording to go through.
Oh, they can use their TA, right?
Yeah.
I was looking back through the emails, and it was supposed to be 8 o'clock Mountain Standard Time because Sarah does not get off of work until
Yeah, she said she doesn't get off till 7:30 Pacific.
Yeah, so my goof.
It's fine.
No
like
worries.
I said, I'm in no hurry. The only thing I have to watch for is because I have to do this on my phone. I have to watch for my battery life. It looks like I'm starting to get low, so I have to go plug this in. Good thing I'm on Wi-Fi.
Does that save? Because I know you're not doing video. Does that probably saves too, though, right? It doesn't eat up as much.
Oh yeah, no. I have like unlimited Wi-Fi. I'm just running it off of my internet.
No, I mean on the power. Does it save on your phone power, or the phone doesn't do the video anyway?
So
What's that?
Does the phone do the video?
I invited both of them again.
Okay.
Let's see.
You were asking about his phone.
Oh yeah,
what's that?
I was just asking about William's phone, and since he's not broadcasting video, does that help with the power consumption?
Okay. So Sarah just said she had not received the. How did you send the link? Was it by email?
Yeah.
Yes.
So let me.
I sent your Gmail account.
Okay, let me. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Are you guys there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Which Gmail account? Because I haven't received an email either.
For Sarah, Sarah Moody 83 at gmail.com was the
Did you
one I
send
sent
it?
to.
Okay. Did you send it to 100foldliving at Gmail?
100fold living at Gmail. Yes, I
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
No, I did not. When I
Oh,
pulled it up, it had 100fold living at gmail.com, and then it had your name right above it. So I picked your name.
That should have worked.
Yeah.
okay. So, Sarah's asking for the link, and she's using the school email. I don't know if you want to find the thread from the school email and just try to resend it to her.
Let's see, where is it?
Oh, there we go.
Well, let's see. Sarah chimed in.
Yay.
The link just came through. I've been sitting here refreshing my email.
I'm sorry, I sent it to your Gmail one.
Yeah, I have that. Both my Gmails and my school email open. It wasn't going to any of them. So I don't know if it was just a delay in their system or what.
Yeah, I was trying your Sarah Moody 83 at gmail.com.
That's one of them. Yeah.
That's the one I was trying.
Yeah, I had it open. It just came through.
Oh,
So I think Gmail's running slow tonight.
So I guess we made a mistake because Charles and I have been on this conversation now for over an hour, but I'm happy to stay longer and talk with all of you.
we forgot, Sarah, we forgot you did not get off work until later on.
Yeah. The joys of retail.
So sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I know Mitchell was trying to get on. Or
Can we start a new recording from this point on?
Do you want to?
It probably would be better for all of us so that the teacher doesn't